This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Good morning and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Tuesday, November 9. In Squiz Kids Today, Big Bird in Big Trouble, Antarctica's ancient firestorms, Froggy Daddy Daycare, and introducing Christmas in a can. That's what's making news, kid style.
The lowdown.
Big Bird is in big trouble in the United States for telling the world he's been vaccinated against COVID-19. The Sesame Street favourite sent a tweet to his 240,000 Twitter followers on Sunday saying that his wing was a bit sore after he'd had his COVID jab, but that it was all worth it, and I quote, "to give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy." And while the tweet had been liked by almost 250,000 people yesterday, some US politicians have accused Big Bird of being a stooge for the US government, which is trying to get as many Americans as possible vaccinated as soon as possible. Being a stooge for someone means doing something because you've been told to. COVID vaccines for kids aged 5 to 11 were approved in the United States just last week. The government here in Australia yesterday said it was unlikely that vaccines for Aussie kids aged 5 to 11 would be approved before next year, as it waited for more tests to be done. And in the meantime, the government said kids didn't need to worry about getting COVID as it was rare for them to get it, and if they did, the evidence was that it didn't make them really sick. So, no need to roll your sleeves up just yet. In other bird news, remember last year we brought you the story of the Peregrine Falcons nesting on top of a Melbourne skyscraper? Well, the mum and dad falcon hatched 4 new chicks back in August, and yesterday, the third chick to take the leap flew the nest off the top of the skyscraper, and it was all captured on video. Now, all of Melbourne is watching the YouTube live feed of the nest to see when the 4th chick takes the plunge. I've stuck links to the video and the live feed in today's episode notes.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Antarctica, the great frozen continent at the bottom of the earth, where, despite the fact it's one of the coldest places in the world today, millions of years ago, it was a land of fire, not ice. The discovery of charcoal in Antarctica, deep beneath the icy surface, has reignited the theory that the place was once covered in trees, and that dinosaurs roamed these ancient forests, and at some point, those forests were burnt down in a period of time in history when the Earth was what was called a superfire world. That's a reference to a time 75 million years ago called the Cretaceous period, when every continent in the world was devastated by massive fires. Sounds scary, huh? And while when you look at the ice and cold of Antarctica today, it's hard to imagine even a campfire burning, let alone a superfire tearing through the place, but the pieces of charcoal found there are evidence scientists say that trees once grew there and were burned down. And the more they learn about how and why those fires happened, the more they say they'll be able to use that information to help us prepare for big fires today. Some people are just so clever.
Animal Kingdom.
Have you seen the movie Daddy Daycare? Eddie Murphy stars as a dad that sets up a daycare centre. It's very funny. Well, here's a twist on that concept. A brand new species of frog that has little pockets built into its body so that the daddy frog can carry their tadpoles around and protect them until they turn into frogs. That's right, the newly discovered species of hip pocket frog is one of just 4 types of frog out of the 4,000 that exist worldwide, where the daddy does the daycare. It's been named Assa Wollumbin. In Latin, Assa means dry nurse, an old-fashioned word for a nanny, and Wollumbin because that was where the frog was discovered, in a patch of high, cool rainforest on Mount Wollumbin in northern New South Wales. Assa Wollumbin is tiny, just 17 millimetres long, which is about the size of a human adult thumbnail. There are pictures of little Assa Wollumbin and its little tadpole family in your episode notes.
Pop Culture Corner.
He came, he saw, he didn't much like it. That seems to have been the case when Beyoncé's other half, Jay-Z, joined Instagram at the weekend, but lasted only one day on the social media site. In that one day, the rapper managed to attract 2 million followers, which kind of makes my head hurt a little bit to think about. But after being only one day on the platform and making one single post, Jay-Z deleted his account again. I know how he feels. So much noise, so little time. And in other pop culture news, we're totes excited at the latest product to be coming to supermarket shelves. It's being called Christmas Dinner in a Can, and is the latest experimental soup to come out of the big soup company Heinz, containing big chunks of turkey, sausage, Brussels sprouts, stuffing, and potatoes with a gravy and cranberry sauce. The special soup range appears as if it will only be available in the UK, which is what we in the adult world call a small mercy. Christmas in a can. Now I've heard everything.
Time for the Squiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What sort of birds are nesting on top of a Melbourne skyscraper? That's right, they're Peregrine falcons. Question number 2. What was the name of the period in history where the Earth is believed to have been ravaged by superfires? You got it, it was the Cretaceous period. Question number 3. Name the rapper married to Beyoncé who joined Instagram, but only for a day. Yeah, it was Jay-Z.
Shout-outs.
It's November 9. Today is Delta Goodrum's birthday. Happy birthday, Delta. Plus, it's Go to an Art Museum Day in the United States. What a good idea. Maybe I just will. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Twins Jesse and Josh from Oran Park, Piper from Craigburn, Darley and Fraser from Randwick, Adeline from Upper Mount Gravatt, Addison from Ashmont, Felicity from Wollongong, Annabelle from Pimpamar, Charlie from Geraldton, Donnie from Stockton, Olive and Poppy from Bendigo, and Charlie and Peyton from Lake Munmora. And classroom shout-outs today go to Classes 4B and 4G at Our Lady of Dollars Primary School in Chatswood, Class 4D and Mr. Dodd at Oatley Primary School, Class 5-6N and Mr. Ryan at Mascot Public School, Class 3-4M and Ms. Eve McLeod at Abbotsford Public School, and finally, a classroom shout-out to 5S at Methodist Ladies College in Melbourne and a happy birthday to their teacher, Mrs. Simcox. And finally, a special classroom shout-out to my new best friends in Ms. Dwyer's class at Narberthong Special School in Brisbane. Boys, it was a pleasure to meet you all yesterday and spend some time in your classroom. The lads have a special treat for us all if you listen to the end of today's podcast. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. And now, I'll hand over to the boys from Narberthong Special School to do the sign-off honours. Take it away, boys.
Now get out there and have the most excellent day!